continue our next section, 7.1, estimating a population proportion. We're going to take a sample and use the sample to estimate population proportion. Proportion here is part out of whole, or sometimes it's in percent, which means out of 100. So let's go over some notation. P start for P represent population proportion. P hat, the formula is X over N, is the sample proportion of X success. Success here doesn't mean negative or positive. It's just particular information that you're looking for. And then Q, you get it from 1. Q hat, you get it from 1 minus P hat. This is called sample proportion of failure. Now let's look at our example here. From 3M privacy filter pool, in which respondents were asked to identify their favorite seat when they fly. So they go out there and ask 806 people from the airport and ask how many of them prefer window seat. So out of 806 people, 492 people prefer window seat. So our success here is those people who prefer or choose window seat. Use a 99% confidence interval. So by using the sample to estimate population proportion, you want to be 99% sure. So the formula is for confidence interval is P hat plus or minus E. E is the margin of error, where E is Z alpha over 2. This is the Z score on the right. P hat, I already explained how to get P hat, is X over N. Q hat is 1 minus P hat. N is the sample size. Now let's do our calculation. P hat is X over N. X is the success. Success here are those who prefer the window seat. So I'm going to have 492 over 806. Alright, that's your P hat. If you calculate this, it's going to be 0.610. That's your P hat. Now your Q hat is just 1 minus P hat. So it's going to be 1 minus 0.610, which is 0.390. Alright, now I'm going to put in the formula for confidence interval. Confidence interval is going to be in the middle here. Alright, so my P hat is 0.610 plus or minus my E is the Z score to the right. So 99% is right in the center. Confidence interval always in the center. So I convert to decimal, it's 0.99. So let's call it alpha. Alpha minus 0.99 is 0.01. So this 0.01 refers to the shaded area to the left or to the right. But because it's symmetry, so they're going to be equal. So I divide 0.01 by 2, that is 0.005. Now you're going to use table A2, look for this number in the body, right? Look in the body, the Z score should be negative 2.58. But because of symmetry, the area to the left is equal to the area to the right. The Z score will be the same. One will be negative, one will be positive. What we're going to take the positive one to use in our calculation. So C alpha over 2 is going to be 2.58 square root P hat. I already calculated here. 0.610. Q hat 0.390. Sample size is 806. Right? So if I calculate this, I would have 0.610 plus and minus 0.0443, which is, you do the minus and you do the plus. 0.566 to 0.654. So you can state that you are 99% confident that 56.6% to 65.4% choose the window seat. Alright. So by taking sample to estimate the population, we are 99% confidence sure that 56.6% to 65.4% of people prefer window seat. Right? Now let's look at the next example here. The next example is say find the sample size. So find the sample size. They want you to find n. Alright? To estimate the percentage of adults who have consulted fortune teller. There are people who like fortune teller. Use a 0.03 margin of error. Margin of error here is E. Alright? Capital E here. Right? Margin of error. Use a confidence interval of 98%, and the prior study showed that 15% of adults have consulted fortune teller. So the formula for n is z alpha over 2. This is the z-score to the right, right? Square p hat. P hat, I have the formula here. Q hat is 1 minus p hat. E is the margin of error. So let's find the z-score to the right. Now they want 98% confidence. Confidence interval always in the center. So 98% is 0.98. Subtract that from 1 is 0.02 because you have two shaded area to the left and to the right. I divide by 2. So it's 0.01. Right here and right here. Again, use table A2. You will find that the z-score would be negative 2.33. Use symmetry. The right hand side will be 2.33. Right? So let's plug it in here. So I'm gonna have 2.33 quantity square from the formula. P hat here is the success. They give you the P hat here. The P hat is the 15%, or people who prefer or like to consult fortune teller. So 15%, let's convert it to decimal. If you convert to decimal, it's 0.15. Alright, and then Q hat. Q hat is 1 minus P hat. So it's going to be 0.85. Margin of error. Margin of error is 0.03. That is the maximum error by using sample to estimate the population proportion. So it's 0.0 or 3%. Square. Alright, let's plug in the formula. And then you calculate this. If your number turn out to be decimal, doesn't matter, 0.001 or 0.1 or anything, just round it up because you cannot take a quarter of a person, an eighth of a person, so you have to round it up. Doesn't matter what number, right? So it's approximately 770. So you have to take the sample size of 770 to have an error of 3%, margin of error of 3%, and 98% confidence interval. Alright, we finished 7.1.